Hello everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is Chris from Cinema Trailer News, and this will be my breakdown for episode 3 of Obi Wan Kenobi. So far I'm enjoying this series a lot. Now this third episode was really good. Now I said that so far the first episode was great. The second episode I have mixed feelings about it, and this third episode was really good. So I'm excited to see the upcoming episodes. So let's get into the breakdown. So we start off with Obi-Wan meditating in an attempt to reach out to Qui-Gon. We also get the line by Yoda, "Only pain you will find." This was said to Obi-Wan at the Jedi Temple before he looked over the security footage, revealing Anakin was complicit in Order 66. And amongst the quotes, we get further ones from both Anakin and Qui-Gon. Accompanying this is shots of Anakin suiting up, but with the way he was filmed, it is a really cool way. Now here there's a feeling of pain to the entire thing. He has fake arms and legs, and even his chest panel has these gigantic spikes, and in it they stab into his body so they can be held in place every moment of his life, since Mustafa has been spent in agony, and this pain has driven him down to the path of the dark side. Now after being ensembled, we cut to a wide shot of the room, which is also was the same location that we saw in Rogue One. We are on Mustafa, aka Fortress Vader. The design of the fortress of course mirrors the Inquisitor's one, and also the ship, which has two spires and shapes with a gap in the middle. Now Vader resides here during his time off so that he could heal, and also because he is reminded of the place that he suffered his greatest defeat. It was a big punch last week for Obi-Wan to learn that Anakin was still alive, and mirroring this, Vader was built thinking that Padme died because of him, along with the two children. This is why he never really went searching for Luke and Leia, and was upon enlisting Boba Fett that he discovered Luke was his offspring. Now Vader, voiced by James Earl Jones, he creates a really intimidating opening, and you may recognize these shots as being the one that were teased in the Obi-Wan season release last year. According to those leaks, his performance is made up of several people, including Earl Jones as the voice, Hayden Christensen for when the mask is off, and Dimitris Britorsky, I'm sorry if I didn't mention that correctly, for when he's in the suit. The last one named in the list, as I mentioned, but whatever that is true or not, I'm not 100% at this point. We get a hologram from Riva, and there is something that is subtle about this. Now, what Riva is currently after is unclear, but they say that Riva may actually be trying to capture Obi-Wan so that she can gain a private audience with Vader, and then she'll be able to enact her true plan to kill him. If she ended up becoming the Grand Inquisitor, then this will allow her to meet with him privately, and this will give her an opportunity to strike him down. However, there are others that are after the seed too, which is also the shape in the seed former. Now she may even be after his spot, and taking him out will make her next in line to become Palpatine's apprentice, if she's the Grand Inquisitor. Episode 1 opened up with Order 66 being carried out, and the first kid we saw would probably be revealed to be her. There's been a lot of talk about Reva, how Reva knew that Darth Vader and Anakin were one in the same, but I suspect that it's going to be revealed that he was the one who found her after the Jedi Temple. He was there and will likely immediately be recruiting Inquisitors from the off. We have the Grand Inquisitor talk about how Kenobi shall be left for Vader, and she even end up taking him out. So I do think they will likely come out that is all part of her plan to take out the person that destroy her life. And it would make sense that Obi-Wan will also be someone that she headed to. Now we cut back to the ship, and here's Leia asks for how the Force works. From here, they travel to Maposo, which is also was first introduced in a Star Wars role-playing game. Upon landing, we see two doors, ones that looks like all five, but it's difficult to tell as it's motivated as it busts up. The planet has stormtroopers on it, and Imperials strip the landmines of its minerals. Throughout the galaxy, they threw lots of their efforts into mining so they could build their weapons like the Death Star, and they will completely ravage planets in order to take what they wanted. Obi-Wan has visions of a Jedi, and I believe that this is Anakin throughout, and it's difficult to make out. Anakin is of course willingly heavily on his mind as he sees student, and in failing him he caused one of the greatest threats in the galaxy to rise up. Now the show has kind of screwed the canon a little bit, as we have Leia clearly knowing Obi-Wan due to rescuing her life. However, in A New Hope, she only talks about her serving her father in the Clone Wars, and when Luke's end up feeling, Yoda seemingly reveals to him there is another. The way that this always came across to me was that only Yoda really knew about it, but they made up altering things in the series. Now at this point we see the Fortress Inquisitores, the base of the Inquisitors. It actually features as the final level in Fallen Order, and the spire in the sky also goes deep into the ocean. We can actually see lightsabers they have taken from the Jedi they hunted in the background, which is such a nice detail. Reva takes a long walk throughout the hallway, and is one of the most epic walking that I've ever seen. At this point she meets up with the other Inquisitors, and Fig Brother makes it clear he wants the throne. Now Fig Brother is one of my favorite characters in the show so far, played by Sue Khan. You probably recognize him as playing Han from the Fast and the Furious franchise. Now Fig Brother, like the rest of the Inquisitors, end up surviving Order 66, and after he was taken by the Imperials, he was trained by the Grand Inquisitor and also Darth Vader. During training, he will actually end up having his hand sliced off, a classic thing that pretty much happens to everyone in Star Wars at this point. They can't get enough. Hunting surviving Jedi, he joined Vader on missions going after characters like Eater Kota and his child. When the Grand Inquisitor died during his fight with Canon Bridget, Fig Brother became one of the most important Inquisitors, and he was tasked with destroying the rebellion. He met his end attempting to track down a Sith hologram, which is also where he came face to face with Ezra Bridger his body lot more. Maul ended up killing him. A lot of the Inquisitor, where he tries to tempt Ezra with the dark side. Definitely go check out Rebels if you wanna know more of his story, and also the Grand Inquisitor as well. Alongside him is Fourth Sister, who is a bit of known in the Star Wars canon. She followed the rest of the Inquisitors in being recruiting from the Jedi Order, but she's not really appear in the canon all that much, and is actually missing from a lot of the articles and sites that go over all the different members. Because of this, we don't really know what happened to her, but we do know she ended up losing her armor to Lena Graf. Graf ended up wearing her armor, and impersonating her in order to infiltrate Fortress Vader on Mustafar. So now we cut to the probe droids being sent out to the galaxy. Our motif there was, of course, how we open with the Empire Strikes Back. Obi-Wan and Leia reach out the rendezvous point, but there's no one there. They flat down and create a carrier, so they call Frag, and Leia gives the name Luma. Luma means light. This could have been picked up by Leia by use of Obi-Wan's speech about how the Force was like turning the light in the dark. However, Luma is also the name that has popped several points with characters, and Luma and Lumara. I feel like the shots in this vessel are also meant to reflect the earlier ones from episode 1, in which he traveled to and from work. In those scenes, he was trying to hide from the Empire, which is literally has to do here when the Empire gets boarded later on. They stated they are from Tor, the location we visited last week on Dayu. After those stormtroopers, how they say they're looking for a Jedi. Now Obi-Wan told Leia to keep quiet, but here he's kind of a idiot in this situation. He passed his off seeing her mother face when he looked at her, which is of course a reference to Padme. But man, the writing in this scene, dear me. However, Vivian Leader Blade comes to delivering a lie that's very reminiscent of Carrie Fisher's performance in Return of the Jedi. She was discussing her mother. So far, I think that she nailed the young version of the character, and he even asked if Obi-Wan is her father. Now, Obi-Wan talks about being taken away from his family very young, and he even brings up his brother, which I think is something that is new in for the canon. Stopped at the checkpoint by the troopers and scanned by a probe droid, Obi-Wan ends up using his blaster to take out the Imperials. This is a cover for him, as using a lightsaber will obviously alert the Inquisitor and Vader. And we get somewhat of a wider screen to not exactly that when the trooper falls over the ledge, ambushed by stormtroopers, and they're saved by an Imperial named Tala, who leads them to an underground railroad scheme sanctuary for the Jedi. This was discussed in the lore in the Rebels episode Part of the Jedi, and it's been used a number of times to chronicle their journey. This also provides them with new identities and led them to Jambin, a planet that Obi-Wan led a skirmish during the Clone Wars. If you recognize Tala, it's likely also that she's played by Indira Varma, who played Elaria Sand in Game of Thrones. They meet with a loader droid called Net B that leads them into a safe house. They also brings a Quinlan Voss, a Jedi Master who we know from the canon lived long enough to see the the Empire fall. He was actually renowned as a rule breaker, which fits into the notion of a smuggling junglings that we discover he did here. The peace is broken by stormtroopers who arrive, and after releasing their compromise, they led away. Obi-Wan gives the name Ben once more, showing how much he has given up on his old life. He sends Vader arriving on the planet, which is where everything gets off. Such a cool moment, and I love how you haven't Vader's breathing mirroring Obi-Wan's. He starts choking people in attempt to draw Obi-Wan out, and he sues his cues, and the pair ended up coming face to face. Obi-Wan ended up fleeing. However, we need a body fight, and watching him sparking amongst them, the dark sand is brilliant. We also get a moment which his saber is used to mirror he killing the junglings in the prequels. Great seeing them fight once more, and I was actually surprised they went ahead to her this early on. Darth Vader then does his line that you should have killed me when you have your chance. Now Reva ends up looking for Leia, and she discovered that the part of Tala tells her to go on her own. She comes across the Jedi crest, in which triggers her because it very much adds to her feeling of abandonment. If our theory is right, which it probably is, she was left to fend for herself, and she ended up joining the Inquisitors, who subjected her to a life of torment with others got all the galaxy away. Vader ends up suspending Obi-Wan in the end, and he attempts to drag him to the fire so that he ends up suffering the same fate that Anakin did. Now Tala gets to the high ground, and she buys an escape for Obi-Wan, and Reva tracks down Leia, ending the episode on a cliffhanger. And that's my breakdown for episode 3 of Obi Wan Kenobi. Please, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friend, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye bye.